What do you think was the real catalyst behind the East and West Coast beef? It's very simple, but most people have complicated this for the last 30 years. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, notification. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, if this is your first time viewing the channel and you would like to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and hit that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what I try to do is, you know, certain people make suggestions on, or they ask questions on things they want to know and get my opinion on. And so this question comes from a brother by the name of Terry from Long Island, New York. And the question is DELRAY, what do you think really started the East and West Coast beef? And that's a very good question. So I'm gonna have to take you back to my first experience, right? 1993, Bowie State Homecoming concert, Northeast Groovers, Tupac Shakur, Lords of the Underground. Phenomenal show. First time I ever met Tupac. But this concert in particular was very interesting because before Tupac did Keep Your Head Up, he stopped the show and he let an unknown young man, unknown to me at that particular time, young man by the name of Biggie Smalls, get up on the mic and do his thing. And he did a song called Party and Bullshit.
Y'all ready to do this shit? So be good. I need the real G's to be real G's. Real G's don't beat females up in the front of the stage to see another nigga. Y'all gotta be real G's, man. Real G's. Fuck that bull. You gonna hear it now. If y'all want some party and bullshit, that's what we about to do right now. Don't judge.
He also led a group on stage, and they were performing with him basically the whole night, called the Live Squad, right? Which was big stretching them. But the thing that I remember most of all, other than Biggie being on stage, and Tupac would later talk about it later on, is that particular night that Biggie was on stage, he was yelling Thug Life.
Thug Life, motherfucker! Thug Life in the motherfucking house. Yeah, nigga. Check this out, y'all. Let's get to this shit now. Straight up, Thug Life. That's what you heard. This that new shit coming out on the new album. Y'all got a homecoming. I feel good about Drown.
So that, to me, when I heard Tupac do the interview and he said that, right, I had seen that with my own eyes already. Didn't really know what to make of it. You know what I mean? But just basically everybody on the stage was basically yelling Thug Life, Thug Life. Right? And so that was my introduction, other than, you know, the other part of the story that I told, to, you know, Thug Life. Like I said, I didn't know who Biggie was at that particular time. And so you take that one instance of Tupac basically looking out for his whole crew and the people that were with him at that particular time. And so you go to let's go to LA, and the video in which, was it Warren G, Snoop Dogg, Biggie, Pac, they were at the club and they were all rapping and freestyling and so on and so forth, right? That's another instance where Tupac, once again, who was the leader, you know, the driving force behind what he was doing at that particular time, introduced Biggie and to Snoop and them, right? You know, Tupac was the man, doing movies, got an album out, you know, everybody saying his name, you know, Juice is critically acclaimed, and so on and so forth, right? And so we've heard Tupac also do interviews, but there was another instance in where people can actually see where Tupac and Biggie and Puffy actually was there at this particular time too. They were in New York at some club or something like that, and they were all on stage rapping and doing their thing and whatever it was at that particular time that they were doing. And once again, Biggie was there. You know, everybody's, you know, chilling, doing their thing, right? And so just another instance on Tupac, you know, being the guy that he was, you know, having most of the popularity and notoriety and the publicity and attention at that particular time, you know, just showing love, you know what I mean? But one thing I know about Tupac is he demanded your loyalty. You know what I mean? If you was, you know, if you was rolling with him, and hence that night at the homecoming, you know, everybody on the stage was yelling Thug Life. You know what I mean? Including Biggie. And there's actually a video of that too.
Thug Life, motherfucker! Thug Life in the motherfucking house. Yeah, nigga. Check this out, y'all. Let's get to this shit now. Straight up, Thug Life. That's what you heard. This that new shit coming out on a new album. Y'all got a homecoming.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, with Biggie, you know, yelling Thug Life. But I was there, and I heard it myself. I was like, yo. But, you know, I didn't know what to make of it at that particular time. It's like, yo, okay, you know, Thug Life, whatever. And so, in that time, L.A., New York, Puffy, Biggie, that's 3 occasions. Also, you go to the situation where Tupac was on the radio. He did an interview with Sway, and he was talking about, you know, the same thing, him stopping the shows, letting Biggie rap, you know, them meeting girls and all of that, and Tupac actually, you know, asking the girls, well, he said begging the girls to, you know, have sex with Biggie and so on and so forth, you know, as a favor to him, basically, because Tupac was the star. The ladies, they wanted to be with him.
I remember Biggie sleeping on my couch. I remember begging bitches to fuck him. You feel me?
Yeah.
So Big Papa don't mean nothing to me. He know it. He know it. That's why he can't fight me. That's why he can't battle me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can make songs talking exactly about him, and he can't talk about me because he know. I'm the one that used to buy him champagne. All that shit he talking, that was me buying him that. He talking about my lifestyle with his album. Because when he was doing his album, he was broke, nigga. I was having money. The shit he talking about was my life. Thug life. That's what he talking about. All that Junior Mafia, them niggas was young motherfuckers that used to hang around that I used to give money to get on the train to go home at night. Little Caesar and all of them.
And Kim and all that.
Yeah, so now they rapping against me, and you can imagine how I fucking feel. When I got arrested in New York, I got arrested for Biggie. Them guns in my room was Biggie's guns because them cowards left the room when they heard the police was downstairs, and everybody left their guns in my room. So I got 4 guns in my room. Serial numbers scratched out, and I did not snitch. I took that case. So you can imagine how I feel.
Right? But he was the type of guy like, yo, we all together, you know what I mean? One of your homegirls got to, you know, look out for my man. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. And so all of those instances that Tupac mentioned, and, you know, like Pac said, you know, the lifestyle that Biggie was rapping about, he didn't really have all of that stuff. Tupac was the one who had all of the Versace and so on and so forth. And so you go to New York, and you got to take into consideration everything that I just told you. And there was probably more things and more experiences that Tupac and Biggie had together. You know what I mean? And you talk about going to New York at Quad Studios that night in particular. You know what I mean? Tupac going to handle his business. You know, lay down some verse for some folks or whatever. And you know, all of a sudden, Little C's holler out the window. Boom! He was like, "Yo." Tupac basically saying he felt comfortable then. You know, because he knew Little C's, Biggie, and you know what I mean. they were all cool and it was all good. You know what I mean? Rightfully so. And so when the situation happens, when Tupac gets shot, Tupac mentioned in the interview, if y'all remember, about him saying that he knew, it had been told to him before, like, yo, why you hanging out with these dudes? They bad news, so on and so forth. And, and the situation happened, right? Okay. So now, the person that Tupac turned to and wanted to know if they knew anything about what happened that night, because that person was there, would be who? It was Biggie, right? And for whatever reason, Biggie couldn't give Tupac any information. I don't think it would have been advantageous to Biggie at that particular time to give Tupac any information anyway, based on the fact that, it was real street business. It was, dudes who wasn't scared to handle their business, from that perspective. And so, but I do know for a fact, according to Tupac's father, Mr. William Garland, right, that Biggie did come to the hospital. And so, I'm not trying to paint Biggie in a bad light. I'm just talking about the factual information, as you can see, all of the times that Tupac, mentioned Biggie, tried to look out for Biggie, was a help to Biggie and getting him out there, getting him some publicity and so on and so forth. These are facts, just as well as the fact that Mr. William Garland, Tupac's father, said to me that he personally talked to Biggie when Biggie came to the hospital to see Tupac after he was shot in New York. That is a fact. And so, once again, these are facts. And so, when Tupac is ultimately sentenced, and I don't think Pac said he talked to Biggie, but Biggie wouldn't really say anything. He kept throwing little hints and so on and so forth, right? And so when Pac goes to jail, right? And, it looked like nobody was going to bail him out. He didn't have the money to, from what people understood or thought they understood at the time. But the crazy part was Tupac didn't have a bail at that particular time because the judge had denied his appeal. They immediately filed for an appeal after Tupac was sentenced the same day. They tried to file a motion for an immediate appeal so Tupac could get out on an appeal bond, right? The judge denied it. Tupac had to take that to the Supreme Court, right? And he won an appeal, and that's how he was able to get out on bail. But before then, things looked grim, and it didn't really look like he was going to get out. It looked like he was going to do all of the time. You had to be back there, present, doing everything that was going on at that particular time. So now, Tupac gets sentenced. 5 days after Tupac gets sentenced, they released the song, Who Shot Ya? Be it what they say, oh, it wasn't about Tupac, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, and so on and so forth. I believe that it was a marketing ploy. Trying to capitalize off of the situation, knowing some of what went on, and Tupac trying to find out what happened, and so it was a play and marketing move, and like I said, it worked. It worked. You know what I mean? And so, because if you remember, Who Shot Ya wasn't on Ready to Die. It was a single that was done, and then released as a single, but not included on the album, right? And so, if you're Tupac Shakur at this particular time, after all of the things that you've done for Biggie, right? Giving them money, taking them on tour, all of these things that you've done, and you hear Who Shot Ya while you're locked up in jail, approximately 5 days afterwards, or sometime after you go to prison, you hear this song, how would that make you feel? Right? And you can have people that's going to argue, oh, they said it wasn't about Tupac. Come on, man. Come on. Tupac was one of the biggest things in hip hop at that particular time. So much so that when he went to jail, he released the record. It was the #1 record in the country when he released it, beating out Bruce Springsteen. Let's stop acting like Tupac wasn't that guy, right? At that particular time. So he's in jail. You hear this song, Who Shot You? How do you feel? Disappointed, betrayed, crossed, all of those things, right? And so if you ask me what started that East and West Coast, what really was the fuel, it was that song, Who Shot You? Yeah, that was it. And like I said, once again, because when Tupac got out of jail, you know, from all intents and purposes, it was on and popping. And you gotta, like I said, you gotta know that, you know, 5 days after Tupac went to jail, they released the song Who Shot You? So I think that was the thing that really got Tupac, I wouldn't even say in his feelings, got him upset, you know, about everything that had occurred, you know, from, you know, you going on like, yo, I fed this dude, I looked out for him, you know what I mean? I took him around with me, I introduced him to people and so on and so forth. You know, we built relationships and things of that nature. And I go to jail and all of a sudden you release a song called Who Shot You? So to the brother Terry, that's the thing that I believe that started what appeared to be the East and West Coast, but it really wasn't East and West Coast. It was just, you know, more of a I would say more of a, it was a rap thing. It was a hip hop thing. It was, you know what I mean? It was that thing, because the shooting was separate from anything that, you know what I mean, Biggie, that wasn't Biggie going at Pac and nothing like that. That was some other stuff, right? You know, and so, you know, what was to be the hip hop thing, like I said. And so, yeah, that's what I believe kicked it off, was Who Shot You? Then you had what? Ambitions as a Rider. Then you had what? Hit 'Em Up. Then you had all of the other songs that, you know, Tupac would then come back. The Machiavelli album, Bomb First, all of those things. You know, and he would come back, you know, feeling some kind of way. Yeah. So if that record was never released, then I don't think Tupac would have responded like he was. He wouldn't have had the ammunition, the all out, you know, that like the song say, the all out against all odds. You know what I mean? And against all odds, meaning, you know, can you imagine? Think about that. Against all odds. Why would you feel that way? You know what I mean? Because when you were at your most vulnerable moment, he felt like, you know, people, they shitted on him. You know? And so once again, like you say, when he got out, you know, it was against all odds. No holds barred, you know? And yeah. So to the brother Terry, yeah, that's what I think that initially, you know, fueled that environment for what that was, you know. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.